Hello, beautiful, and welcome to day 4 of the Emergency Medical Folder Challenge. I am Suzanna Kaye, professional organizer, and I'm excited to have you here with me. Today, we are talking about how to make your emergency medical folder, the folder that we're building this week for free in the challenge, how to make it awesome. So I'm going to share some tips and tricks and additional tools that you can use to make it easier to keep this up to date and some ideas to make it more effective and useful for you. Are you ready for this? Let me know in the comments when you hop on who you are, where you're joining me from. I see lovely Maria's here. She says, blessings from Alaska. She's really enjoying the new process of being able to keep her medical information together without stressing at doctor's appointments, trying to remember everything, right? I know what you mean. She says, with memory loss and living alone. So this is a game changer for me, especially with so many health challenges and medications. I'm glad this is such a help for you. I love to hear that. That's wonderful. And hey, Jerry's here and Judy. And we've got Susan has joined us. And Wendy, she says, learning new tricks each day. I'd love to hear that. Beth is here from Indiana. And hi, Diane. Good to see you. And Lynn. We've got a great group here with us today. I love it. I love it. So as a reminder, if you've not already registered, the Emergency Medical Folder Challenge is running until July 31st, 2022. So there's still time to register. Don't worry if you've missed the first few days. I have a whole page where you can catch up on anything you might have missed. There's still time to join us. So make sure the link to register is on the challenge schedule page. And the challenge schedule page is that one place where if you've missed anything at all, go to the challenge schedule page. That's where it's all at. So the link to the challenge schedule page, this is like the one link that you will need for almost anything, is in the description of this video. It's also on the screen, but the easiest way is to click the link in the video. And that way you can see everything that's going on, everything that's coming up, and whatever you've missed. So welcome, Deb, from my Iowa gal. I love our Iowa people. And Jana's here. Hi, Jana. Vicky's here from Washington. And Mary. Good to see you again, Mary. Wonderful. So I promised you today, this is actually one of my favorite days of the challenge because we're talking about all of those tips and tricks and tools to adjust your folder and make it even more amazing. So let's start off with some tricks and tools to make it more effective. Okay, so within your medical folder, just a reminder, your emergency medical folder, it's a quick grab folder. The goal of this folder is to be able to grab it and take it to doctor's appointments, if you have to go to the hospital. Also, if first responders have to come and you're not able to communicate, then this is essential so that they will know all of your emergency medical information for you. And it has basic emergency information in case you had to evacuate or had an emergency at home. So this is kind of your quick grab folder. Now it's one part of the full Spark Life Binder. So the emergency medical folder, that's the worksheets that you're getting this week for free as part of the challenge. The Spark Life Binder handles everything else. So all the rest of your important papers and information, and it's set up the same way with the worksheets that you just fill in the blanks. You don't have to remember what you need to record. It's all organized for you. And this is the one that you would keep hidden. You don't want other people to find it. So this is the one that you would keep safe. The emergency medical folder is the one that you would want to keep like in a kitchen or in your car. We'll talk about where to store it tomorrow, but this is the one where we're not putting our most sensitive information, right? So one of the things that I mentioned I like to do within my emergency medical folder that I recommend is having a pocket folder. Now, depending on what kind of dividers you find, sometimes you can find those dividers that have like a little pocket right within them or a full pocket that actually closes. Those are the best. They're hard to find, but every once in a while I can find those. Those are really handy to have because then you can put a photograph of the person that that whole divider is covering. It's nice to have a photograph of the person in case first responders are the ones grabbing this. They know who it applies to, but also you could put prescription information in it. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But if you can find those pocket dividers, I really like those. If not, one of the things I do like to at least add a pocket per person to hold prescription information. So I put it at the back of their section. So you'd have the divider for the person in the front. I put that at the back. Up to you where you want to put it. So that's one way to use the pockets if you wanted to add extra pockets per person. But overall, in the back of the entire folder, I like to have a pocket here as well. So let's talk about some of the things that you can add to the pocket to make this even better. All right. So within my pocket, let me open it up. There are some things that I like to have. So one of the things I like to include in my pocket is a charging cable and the little base for it. If you don't have one that has a base connected, it's a little cube. So the charging cable and base, or you could have one of those battery packs, the backup battery packs with its little cable to plug in. So that way, if you did have to run out in case of an emergency, or if you go to the hospital and your device is running low on battery, then you have your charging cable right there with you. So that's nice to have in an emergency. Another thing I like to keep within my emergency medical folder, I keep an extra house key. Also, this is a good place. You could keep like your storage unit key or something that you would grab often if you needed something like that. Now, I would not keep a safe deposit key here or a key to like your fireproof safe in your house, because we don't want the wrong people to find the folder and then have a key to something that they should not have a key to. But extra keys to your house, extra key to the car, anything that you'd probably have just in a drawer that next to your door anyway. Those are good things to have inside of your emergency medical folder. So if you need to grab it and go, you can. Another thing that it's nice to have sometimes, and I do this with the full Spark Life binder as well. I keep mine within the Spark Life binder because, like I said, this is part of the Spark Life binder. But if you wanted to keep like a USB drive or a flash drive, thumb drive, whatever you like to call it, just these little types of drives. I like the ones with the holes because then if you're putting it in a binder, then it can just clip right through the holes. But if you wanted to keep a flash drive that had the digital copy of your emergency medical folder, that's a great place to keep it. So that way it's super easy to update. You don't have to worry about where you save the digital file. So you could have one digital copy here and then just save somewhere else another digital copy as the backup, because you would not want to lose your digital copy along with the print copy, right? Then there's not much of a backup, but the digital can be a great backup, right? So I like to keep on the USB drive the digital copy, and you could also keep scans of any additional paperwork that you might need, like insurance policies, things like that. I just would not keep a scan of anything such as IDs, passports, financial information, social security numbers. Remember, treat this just like you would the whole folder as far as security, but having a flash drive right inside of that pocket is super helpful. So those are just a few of the things that I like to put inside of the pocket. So charger cables and a base to charge your cell phone, or a battery pack, extra house keys and other keys, and a USB drive with a digital version as a backup, and so that you can quickly update it whenever you need it. So tell me in the comments, for your emergency medical folder, what other types of things would you think to include in here? What other things would you put in your pocket? I always love to hear the ideas that you guys have because you have such good ideas. Another thing that I do have in mine, for me, I have the microchip ID numbers for our pets. So that way, and it's something where I just tucked them into the pocket. I use the pocket a lot of times when I just don't have time to update, physically write in whatever it is. So we just got the microchip done for the puppy. So this is new. So I just tucked it into the pocket. So that way I can actually write it into the notes later when I have time, but I tucked the whole thing right into the pocket. Another thing I have in the pocket that I just needed to 3-hole punch once I have all of the dogs, because they all are due for their rabies vaccinations and all their vaccinations. So at the moment, I just tucked one of theirs into the pocket. And then when I have all of them, then I will actually open up the prongs and put this in behind the pet information area. So having the vaccination records for your pet, Really handy because if you did have to evacuate or board them unexpectedly somewhere new, then they will need those vaccination records. So having those with you is really helpful. Now let's see in the comments. Oh no, so Susan says that she went to register for the important papers workshop and it gave her an error. Well, that's no good. Well, Susan, can you do me a favor? Will you shoot me an email at suzannakaye.com, hello@suzannakaye.com, and let me know which link you used to try to register, and we can try to troubleshoot that for you because we can absolutely help you get registered and make sure that you're all set. All right, so hello@suzannakaye.com, and we'll absolutely help you. And really quickly, Suzanne's here. Hi, Suzanne and BJ. Peg says, hi, finally added my photo to the emergency medical folder yesterday. Yay, that's fantastic. Another thing that would be great in that pocket would be photos of your pets, because that way if first responders had to come or there was an emergency and somebody else, they could see how many pets you have in the home and what they look like. So that could be useful as well. That just reminded me. Thanks, Peg. Rosila's here from North Carolina, New York City, NYC, not NC. She says, good morning and hello, Suzanne and everyone. She's had a busy week. The first time she's able to participate live today. I'm glad to have you here, Rosila. It's true I've not seen you in a little bit, and it's nice to see you again. Sherry's here. Good morning, beautiful. Susan says, okay, the link under this video. So yeah, if you shoot me an email, then we'll make sure to try to get you a link that works better or try to troubleshoot why that did not work. So Sherry says that she got the same error message, but she also did receive an email confirmation. So I will check that out after the live. But yeah, Susan, see if it happened to go through anyway and you get an email confirmation. Hopefully you did. And I will see what's going on. It might just be the thank you page that's having an error, and I'll fix that one. Okay, so we talked about things to put in your pocket dividers. If you have any ideas of what else you would possibly think about putting into a pocket divider, then let me know in the comments. I already told you about the pocket dividers. So using dividers that have a pocket in them, if possible, or an extra pocket per person. I like to have that because some of the things I like to add, I do, like I mentioned, like to have a photo of each person, at least on their divider or in the pocket with their section. Now, most of the time I say have a picture of just the person, but sometimes it is pretty obvious, like Susanna and Jeffrey. It's pretty obvious to tell which one of us is going to be Susanna and which one of us is going to be Jeffrey. So I just picked photos that I really like of the two of us that clearly show our faces. For Kayla, Kayla's picture would have just her. So it's obvious that it's not Susanna. Kayla looks like this. But adding a photo is really helpful. And then you can also choose within the Spark Life Binder in the dependents section. One of the things that we have is a place to have fingerprints and identifying information. So let me see if I can pull that up in the dependent section of the Spark Life Binder. And this is available either print or digital or both. And actually it goes on sale today. That's right. So when you go to suzannakaye.com and click on the store link, if you wanted to grab the full Spark Life Binder, it's available from now until August 7th of 2022. And then it goes away until next year. So if you wanted to grab this, make it easier for the rest of your papers, you can. But within the Spark Life Binder, one of the things that we have for dependents is a place to do fingerprints for the left hand and right hand, and then any identifying characteristics. So birthmarks, scars, tattoos, their weight, and what date that weight was, height, hair color, eye color, skin tone. And then usually within here, we would put a recent photo of the person. So this is something you might want to do. Replicate, just do a blank page within your emergency medical folder if you have a younger dependent or a dependent that you care for, like somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia that could possibly, get lost, wander, that you might need to give these descriptions to the police or anywhere else. So that's another thing that can be really helpful in your emergency medical folder if that applies to you. And then I like to, like I mentioned, put the prescription sheets in each person's section. So one of my favorite tricks for making the folder super easy to keep updated, we do have pages where you can type or write in the prescription information. For us, I mean, we're at that age where we're starting to get more prescriptions, but they're changing all the time. So handwriting the prescription information in, for me, it's not as fast because it's kind of a moving target constantly. So what I like to do, one thing that you can do is at the pharmacy, if you go to something like CVS, Walgreens, most pharmacies, you can ask for a printout of all of your prescriptions. And you could always just take that printout, hole punch it, and put it into your emergency medical folder. What I like to do even more than that, though, because these different printouts that you get with the medication, for me, these have so much more information on them than the printout even does from the pharmacy. So whenever possible, if I get a new prescription, I just take the entire insert and I stick it into that person's little pocket folder. So that way there's an entire sheet with the prescribing doctor, the dosage, the name of the prescription, the quantity, the, dose. And most of the time it has different common interactions, side effects. It has all the information. I figured that way for first responders, they have all the information right there, or any of the hospital staff, without having to even look it up. So I like to have this right inside the pocket folder. And whenever I put a new one in, I just eyeball the ones that are in there and make sure that they are all still ones that we're taking and they're the most current ones. But whenever we get a new prescription, I just take that, stick it right into the pocket folder for the person. And that's how I update our prescriptions. So, but do whatever works best for you. If you prefer a printout, that's fine too. If you like to handwrite it or type it in, there is no right or wrong way to do this. The whole goal is simply get the information in there, right? However you do it is up to you. And then really quickly in the comments, let's see. Oh, Brana says she's going to include the printout from her Medic Alert account. Yes, that's such a great idea. I love that. Love that. Especially because there are times where I've heard of people, having a problem in the shower or something like that. For some reason, they're not wearing the Medic Alert bracelet. That will have all that information for them right there. I like that. Susan says, human resource or supervisor's number for your work. Oh, I like that. That's a really good idea too. So that way work can be notified that you aren't coming in. Joanne from Maryland, she says, I started an emergency folder months ago, but I'm here to get encouragement to finish it. I'm so glad that you're joining us, Joanne. You got this, one small step at a time, right? You've already gotten a bunch of small steps done, so you're killing it. Susan says, any elder or kinder care that you're responsible for? Absolutely, yes. And if you do have somebody with special needs that you're a caregiver for, if you have one of the expansion packs this week, the caregiver expansion pack is coming out. You don't have to have the Spark Life binder to use the expansion pack, but it goes well with it. And it'll be available at SuzannaKaye.com in the store. But some of those pages, you could actually duplicate those pages and put them in your emergency medical folder to tell first responders and hospitals the information about different implants and specifics about the special needs. So that's a really good one. If you do have anybody with special needs, those expansion packs might be an easy way to add to your folder too. Lori says, oh no, I forgot today's live started at 11, just arrived. She'll listen to the replay for what she missed. I'm glad that you made it. Not a problem. Yes. Oh, Mary printed out her prescriptions from her MyChart app. Yes, fantastic. That's a good one too. That I forgot that now there's so much online that they let you print out. It's so much easier, isn't it? Love it. Colette says, this is very important. I had a heart attack, and even though I had information, my husband was in shock and in no condition to answer the questions. Yes, I'm so sorry to hear that you had a heart attack, and I hope that everything is okay and that you're doing better now. But it's true. I actually, with the Spark Life binder, I share a story about how the emergency medical folder helped one woman because similar thing. Her husband, I believe he had a heart attack, and she was just, so concerned about helping him and focused on him that when the paramedics arrived, She had forgotten to tell them about a life-threatening allergy he had to a medication. But thankfully, she had her emergency medical folder that she'd gotten through getting the Spark Life binder, and she just handed this to the paramedics. And thankfully, they opened it. They saw life-threatening allergy on that first page for him, and they were able to avoid giving him a medication that they were going to give him that probably would have killed him. Because we never know when we're in the moment. Sometimes our brains aren't thinking of all those little details. It's so easy to miss some. So if it's written down and you could just hand it to somebody, then it's going to make their jobs easier and you will know that you won't miss a single thing. So what a great example, Colette. I'm glad that everything worked out. Also, I don't know the names of most of the prescriptions that my husband takes. So having this, if something were to happen to him, then this would keep me from having to log into our insurance account and try to research that or look through our medicine cabinet. This way, I know every once in a while when I go and I update it, or when he gets a new prescription, I just ask him, hey, is there anything new or any of these old? And I have so much more information about him that way too, so I can help. Peg says, I realized I had the proof pictures from the photos taken for the church directory. I used one of those for the emergency medical folders. Oh, that's a good idea. Love that. And Susan says, if you use the web to go to doctors or specialists, use the form on their site and make a copy to keep for your files. Oh, that's a good idea. So that way you already have all of the answers from their forms. The whole, have you ever had, check all the boxes. I like that one too. You guys have such good ideas. That's why I love asking you these things. So fantastic. I also, one of the things, prescription medications are one thing, but if you take any supplements or over-the-counter medications, sometimes that's a really good thing to put. I'm lazy. I just take a picture of the bottle and print it out and put it into the pocket folder. So that way they know, because sometimes supplements and over-the-counter medications can interact with other medications. So it's really good for them to know everything that you're taking. If you're taking, like I take vitamin D and fish oil pills, that's just good for them to know just in case. So that's a good one. And then another thing I like to do within my folder, I talked about this the other day, is I have one of those 3-hole sheets that holds business cards. And I just grab at least one business card from each doctor when I see them. And I'll usually write on the card which one of us sees the doctor or any notes about that. But I just slide it in. And that way I've got all the doctor's information right there as well. And for my general doctors, or the ones that I would need people to share information with, I grab a small stack of cards, because then when I go to a new doctor or a specialist, I can hand them the card and say, hey, I need to make sure that the records also get sent to my general doctor. Here's the information. And then I have it for if I have to fill out a form, or sometimes they're nice and they take it from there. But I put doctor stuff, and I usually do a copy of our health insurance card right in those sheets. And I remember Cheryl, I think it was yesterday or the day before, she had the great idea. If you don't have the slide-in sheets, she said that she just took all the different business cards and made a photocopy of them onto one sheet and put that in. So you don't even need one of those slide-in sheets if you can't find them or don't have access. And that was just a great idea from Cheryl. Now, in the back, remember there's a notes page. There's one for each person's medical section. So this notes area is a perfect place for if you have anything specific for you that you would want to include, anything that's not already included in those worksheets. This is very general, unlike the Spark Life binder where like almost every single situation is covered. The emergency medical folder is much more general, because the goal is for this not to become too thick and heavy. We don't want to bring absolutely everything with us if we can avoid it, unless we're going through some sort of condition that we're dealing with. But in general, we want this to be quick, easy to grab, not too heavy. So I did not include absolutely everything that could possibly be included in the emergency medical folder. But if there are things you want to include, then you can use that notes page. And if you run out of space with the notes page, if you have way more that you want to say, feel free, just write notes on another page and add that in too. There's nothing that says that you have to stick exactly to how this is. So if you want to add it for you, add it. If you don't want to use it, leave it blank. Make it yours, okay? You could also sometimes, if you have the Spark Life Binder and you wanted to include special pages from the Spark Life Binder, like we talked about the dependent's fingerprints page, or if you had one of the contact information pages and you wanted to make sure to include those contacts, anything that you wanted to from your Spark Life Binder, you could take the page and copy that page and put it into your emergency medical folder too. So that is another way to do it. All right, really quickly in the comments. Susan says, I also put the NPI numbers on their business cards because with my medical insurance, they need referrals. And it's much quicker if you can supply your PCP, your general doctor, with the specialist NPI numbers. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, because I would not even know what those numbers are. So it's probably so much easier to have that already written down. That's a great one. Thank you. Love that. Keep them coming. You guys have such good ideas. You've got big brains on you. And remember, if you've missed anything from the challenge so far, check out the challenge schedule page. The link is in the video description. Bookmark it. It will be available through August 7th. So 1 week from this Sunday, it will come down and all the content from this challenge will go away. So you still have a little over a week to get through all of this, which there's not that much to get through because I broke everything down to super, super tiny steps. But if you missed a replay of a day, if you missed one of the tasks, if you need any of the links that I've mentioned at all, they're all on that challenge schedule page. So check that out. All right. So we talked about the tricks and tools to make your folder even more effective, right? So adding special tools and everything to our pockets, adding divider pockets and prescriptions in for each person and photos, different things that we can add into the folder, additional information. We talked about all of that, right? So next, I'm going to talk about the best tool to organize all the rest of your important papers, because that is usually the biggest stressor that I hear from people when they come looking for more information and they're first introduced to me and they realize that I teach paper organizing. Then the biggest stress is not necessarily even the piles of papers around. It's the worry of not being able to find what you need as soon as you need it, right? That you can't get your hands on the important information when you need it, or your family can't. And that's the biggest stressor. So we'll talk about that next. Really quickly, someone from Facebook, she says, yay, time to catch up. I was late today. Not a problem. I'm glad that you made it. Peg says, I put a copy of my COVID vaccination card in my folder. Yes, that's a really good one because the vaccination sheet's great for writing down when you got it, but they like to see the card. So that's a good idea. Lori says, are the chat messages included with the replays? Any of the chat messages that come through YouTube, I think it takes them a day to populate, but they are shown in the side. But that's why I always put them on the screen as well. So yes, they are, because they are part of the video, because I put them on the screen just like I did with yours. But as far as chats alongside it, it depends on if you're watching through YouTube or Facebook. And then a lot of times they just show their own. It's a whole thing. You know, if they'd all just play nice and show everything from everyone, that would be easier. But thankfully, I'm able to put them on the screen. So that's a very good question. Okay, so the best tool to organize all the rest of your important papers. You heard earlier, there was a little bit of the discussion about registering for the Important Papers Workshop, right? So the Important Papers Workshop is free and it's happening next week. There are 3 chances next week, and then it's not happening again until next year. But during the free Important Papers Workshop, I will show you how to create your own binder from scratch, like the Spark Life Binder. So you don't need to buy the Spark Life Binder. That workshop will tell you how to build your own from scratch. You can also, of course, grab the Spark Life Binder to save time, so you don't have to think about what else that you want to put into a binder, how to organize it. Of course, it's the easy button, but the Important Papers Workshop, we will walk through how to build your own. So if you've not already registered for the Important Papers Workshop, It's on August 2nd and I think 4th. Yes, 2nd, 4th, and 6th are the 3 times. When you go to the registration page, you will see, you can choose which time works for you. If you can't make it live, then you can watch the replay after. Although if you do attend live, then I will give you my free How Long to Keep Important Documents guide. And it looks like, let's see, this. So if you do attend the Important Papers Workshop live, then this How Long to Keep Important Documents guide is my gift to you for taking the time to attend live. And we have a lot of fun, but I walk you through building an Important Papers binder from scratch. And you probably already own all of the supplies that you need at home, right? You probably already have a binder and some dividers and paper. So tell me really quickly in the comments, have you attended the Important Papers Workshop in the past? Because I do it twice a year, and it is the same workshop. Each time you're more than welcome to attend again if you have attended before. I know a lot of people like to attend and review it again, but let me know in the comments, have you gone to the Important Papers Workshop before? And I'd love to hear what you thought of it. Was it full of good information? Was it useful? What did you think? But having one place, the whole goal is having one place for all of your important information. That is the key, right? That's the most important part, because when we have our important information scattered in piles, then that's adding extra stress to us, right? We're not sure we're going to be able to find what we need when we need it. If it's in a file cabinet, that's great. But if there's an emergency, then it takes longer to find the paper because you have to go to the file cabinet and find it within the files. Also, if there's an emergency where you have to quickly grab it and go, you can't take your file cabinet with you, right? So having that grab and go one place binder is really helpful. And a lot of times we don't think in the same way that the rest of our loved ones do. So if we're the ones organizing the papers in the file cabinet, it might make sense to us where something is, but it'll take our loved ones longer to find it because they might not be sure exactly where to look. So your loved ones will know exactly all of the important information and where to find it, and it's already organized for you in an Important Papers binder, right? Whether it's the Spark Life binder or if it's one that you build yourself, it does not matter. Just having one spot for all of that information is so helpful. So I will talk just a minute about what would go into an Important Papers binder. If you want to learn more, definitely join me for the Important Papers Workshop, okay? That link to register is in the video description, as well as on that challenge schedule page. And quickly, I had asked people if they had attended before. Lori says, I registered. Yay, she registered for the Important Papers Workshop. Yay. And Judy and Lovely Marie and Colette have not been before. Oh, well, I hope that you join me. I think I really love it. Sherry says, yes, she's been before and it's fabulous. Lynn says, yes, and she has the Spark Life binder. Oh, great. She says, very useful. I'm so glad that you like it. I hear so much good, positive feedback from the Spark Life binder. It just makes it so much easier. Susan says, no, she's not attended before. Oh, I'm so glad that you're joining me now. It's a good one. Yay, she said. Somebody says, no, but I'm planning on attending one next week or next year. Hopefully you can grab the one next week and at least see the replay if you miss it live. Yay, BJ says she hasn't attended, but she will this time. Hey, Tina, glad to see you. And Lori says, I attended it a couple times. You provided so many things I wouldn't have thought to include. The procrastinator in me needs to start filling in more of the sheets. Not a problem. Well, you can use those group hikes. That's part of your membership because you're a Path member. Those group hikes are a great time to every group hike, just pick one page of the Spark Life binder and fill it in. You don't have to spend the whole hike doing it. If you just do one page during each hike, then you will get done very quickly. Okay, Wendy says, I use the friction pens to handwrite in the emergency medical folder, I'm guessing, and it can be erased and changed. They come in colors too for highlighting. Yes. You know what? Speaking of the friction pens, these are all friction pens. I love those so much. You and I are on the same page. So the friction pens, they're erasable pens. I say the one thing is, I use the friction pens also when I write into my emergency medical folder. But if you are keeping your folder in a car or a very hot place, or a copy of it, then make sure not to use the friction pens just because they can disappear from extreme heat because the friction, the heat of the friction is what erases them. So for any copies that you're going to put in a hot car, don't use the friction pen. I use regular pen for those, or I photocopy a page to put in the car. But for my regular emergency medical folder, that is such a great tip because I do that too. I love it. Yay. Lovely Marie says, getting the binder on the first when I get paid. Yay. I am so excited. If you need any help with it at all, you know how to reach me. hello@SuzannaKaye.com. And I'm always, always here to help. Oh, and she says, plus she's becoming a member. Yay. I'll have you at the group hikes. I can't wait to have you join us at the group hikes. Yep. Suzanne says, registered, but got the error message too. I have a feeling it's our thank you page. Once this is done, then I will check on that. Just make sure that you get the email confirmation saying that your registration went through. It might take 15 minutes or so to hit your inbox, but if it doesn't show up, then shoot me an email at hello@SuzannaKaye.com. Peg says, even if I have attended a workshop before, I found the new comments give me new ideas of things I need to include. For example, picture of pets. Yes, good. Yeah. I like to chat and answer questions during various times in the workshop. So yes, that's great. Oh, Colette says, thanks. I've never heard of friction pens. Yes, Frixion pens. I think that they're by Pilot. Yep, Pilot brand. They're wonderful. Love them. Mary says, the binder is not in the budget this time. I totally understand that, but I can't wait to learn how to make one. And that's exactly why I do the Important Papers workshop, because not everybody can afford the Spark Life Binder right now, even with the payment plan. Sometimes it's just not in your budget, and sometimes it's not something you want to do. So being able to set up your own binder, that's huge. It will still give you peace of mind, and you'll know what types of things to go into your binder. So I'm excited about that. Yep, Suzanne says, yes, it's probably the thank you page. I got the confirmation. And Lori says, I got the 404 message, but the pixie dust did its magic and registered me. Yay, so it's actually working. I'll fix the thank you page. Thank you guys for letting me know, because otherwise I would have had a lot of very confused people. All right, so really quickly, let's walk through what you would put into an Important Papers binder, okay? Super fast, nowhere near as in-depth as the workshop. The workshop is a 1-hour workshop. We don't have that kind of time during a Thursday talk live, but I'm using the Spark Life Binder just as an example. So when you build your own binder, or if you grab the Spark Life Binder, this is what you would include. But you'll want one section with basic information. And remember, this binder is the one that you keep hidden and secure. And we talk about how to do that in the workshop too. So we include much more private information in this than in the emergency medical folder. But it includes the basic information. So that would be ID numbers, contact information, all of our very basic information as humans, one per person in the household, per adult. There's a whole section for dependents. It includes their basic information, but also information about parents, guardians, caregivers, schools, any care facilities that they go to, websites with logins that they might have access to and use. And also in the dependents, that's where we include all of our information about our pets. So you would include, the veterinarian, the groomer, who would care for the pet if you're not able to, microchip ID numbers, all of that type of information is in dependents. The medical section, so this is where your medical history would go. And if you are dealing with chronic conditions or something a little bit more complex, you might want to include your medical section copy in your emergency medical folder if that's going to be helpful for you at doctors. Most of the time, we don't need the full medical section within our folder unless we're dealing with something and trying to get something figured out with the doctors. So this is a great section if you need it to include at least maybe just the family medical history. That's a good part to include in your emergency medical folder if you want to. But it includes your healthcare providers, all the medical history documentation is in that medical section. Then there is an end of life section. So this includes all the end of life arrangement information and preferences. This is so helpful. If something were to happen to you or somebody else in your family then having all of this information already decided and written down is such a relief for anybody who has to go through and deal with setting up all the arrangements. They don't have to question what you preferred, or you don't have to question what somebody else wanted. It's all written down. So it's a relief. It's a hard section to get through for some people, and I have tips about how to get through it a little bit easier. But this one is a really helpful section just for that emotional time of life. This whole binder is so helpful. If you have kids, older kids, then having this will help them so much. If something were to happen to you, then they would know everything that they need to know. They don't have to worry about where to find it, and it's going to make that whole time so much easier for them. In the workshop, I share a whole story about Joanne and how her kids loved having the binder and how it helped so much. But there's another section. Section 5 is finance and insurance. So this is where you would have all of your financial information, the bank accounts, credit cards, investments, insurance policies, all of those details. And a lot of times I like to photocopy the front and backs of all of the credit and financial and bank cards and put it in this section too. So that way, if one's ever stolen or lost, you have that information. Real estate and personal property. So this not only includes real estate, like buildings that you happen to own, your home or anything like that, but it also includes something like a personal property inventory, an inventory for the valuables in your home in case of theft or loss, a listing of heirlooms and important items. So if something were to happen, then your family knows what's important in the home as far as just family history wise and why. Photos and memorabilia, where they're located, valuables, storage units, safe deposit boxes, what types of things are in there. So that's just a good overview of all of your personal property. Include that in your binder. And then legal and official records. So any type of legal information, agreements, things like that. And then I have digital life. Digital life is a great place to include passwords and website information. Remember, we're keeping this super secure. So you can list your passwords, website information, all of those login information that you need. Or if you have something like LastPass or a password management software, you can do a printout of it as a backup in case something were to happen, or you can just list how to log into your software. And then finally, there's a resources and notes section. I love to have a section where you can put resources and notes for quick reference, like the How Long to Keep Important Documents guide. That comes with the Spark Life Binder if you grab that. Sometimes I'll do the emergency evacuation checklist. That's really helpful there. So any type of resources that you would refer to in an emergency or very frequently to organize important papers. So those are the main things I like to include in an important papers binder. And I love to have both a physical copy because I need to be able to get my hands on it and see it, and I update things better if they're something that I can just write on. But I also like to have a digital copy because that's a perfect backup as well. So if something were to happen to the print copy, or if I was, traveling, I could be in Germany, and through my very secure password management software, I can store a copy of the digital copy and have access to all of the information that I need securely. So I like to have both the physical and the digital copy. And the digital copy also means it's nice and easy to reprint pages that get messy. But it's up to you, whether you're a paper person, a digital person, or both. It's completely up to you. So let me know in the comments. Tell me if you already have an important papers binder or the Spark Life Binder. Whether it's one that you built yourself or if it's the Spark Life Binder, I would love to hear if you already have one. And if you like it, Sherry already mentioned that she's got one and loves it. I believe that it was Sherry. But yeah, let me know. And let me pull up. Just lost my place. There we go. And then there's the free important papers workshop. If you don't have one and you do want to learn how to build your own, you don't have to grab the Spark Life Binder. I will tell you how. Peg asks, how long is the important papers workshop? It's about an hour long. I try to keep it to an hour. Sometimes it goes to like an hour 5, hour 10. If I'm still answering more questions longer, at the end, I answer like any questions that come up, but I do try to keep it to an hour, including the questions. All right, Razila says, yes, she's attended the Important Papers workshop before, and she also owns the Spark Life Binder and Emergency Medical Folder. She registered again for the Organizing Papers workshop because it always helps her review again the information. Yay! That's fantastic. Love it. Love, love, love it. Hey, Lynn is here. Great to see you, Lynn. Yes, an Organizing Papers workshop. Lori has the Spark Life Binder. Yes, that's awesome. You've been working through it one step at a time, haven't you? You've been doing great. Mary says, I have a binder, but it's not complete. It would help my family a little. Yes. So especially since you are building your own from scratch, hopefully this workshop will really give you some ideas about what types of things to include and how to organize it into those different categories. So I look forward to having you there. Someone says, I know we started one in the past, but it's not as in-depth as what you just described. Yeah, this has been, is it 13 years now? I've lost count since I first actually created one of these for myself because I was overwhelmed with what information was important that I had and where it was, and went through a situation with my dad and realized that he did not have any of that put together. So I knew nothing if something were to happen to him. And then I refined it to help my one-on-one clients back in the day when I used to work with people one-on-one in their homes. I found that very few people had anything organized for their important papers. So I refined it for them and made it where it worked for all of their situations. And then they convinced me to release it as a product. So the more people could use it. And I've been refining it over and over for at least 12 years, I think 13 or 14 now. And every once in a while I do an update. And if you have the digital version, then you get the updates automatically right now. If you're not sure if you have the current version or not, if in the bottom corner it says V7, you got the most up-to-date one. And if it doesn't say V7 on yours, then in your online library, there's the update is right there. But every once in a while I update, I add any new information, COVID vaccines that come up, or ideas from other people that I just thought were good ideas. So it has been refined over and over and over and over. I love it. Yvonne says she has your Spark Life binder, sending some info in a binder for my kid going to college. Yes, especially the emergency medical folder. Oh, that's such a great gift. In college, I was a mess. I didn't know where anything was. So if my mom had done that, that would have been amazing. I love it. Tina says, I have the Spark Life binder in paper. Yay, Tina. That's awesome. Wendy says, I was going to make my own, but I have yours as I couldn't seem to find the time, and you have so many great ideas. I love the repeat workshops as they also get me to update. Yay! That's awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like we all have these intentions to build our own, and we might get started, but man, it just takes so much time, right? So if you can have something just mailed to your house and a digital copy with it, so you already have your backup, that is so much easier than you just fill in the blanks. It's so much easier when you're just filling in the blanks instead of creating the workshops and thinking about it, right? Lori says, what's the latest version of the Spark Life Binder? It is version 7. So if the bottom says V7, then it is the most up to date. Good question. All right. Well, you guys are doing so amazing. Just a few reminders for the challenge, the things that are coming up. We have the free public group hike. Is it tomorrow? No, 2 days from now. Today's Thursday, not Friday. Saturday, July 30th. Saturday, July 30th is the free public group hike. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can arrive late. You can leave early, just anytime between 11 and 1 Eastern time. You can feel free to join us. What it is it is a Zoom session for 2 hours. We hop on Zoom. I play some music. Sherry always says that she loves the music. I play some music and we get some work done on whatever project you're working on. It could be, Lori, you could do 1 page of your Spark Life binder if you wanted to during the group hike, and then whatever else you want to do that's productive. Or anybody, you can finish doing your emergency medical folder. It's a perfect chance to finish that up. So bring anything that's productive, any type of projects that's productive to the group hike session. And we do little work sprints. And then in between these work sprints, I share tips, I answer questions. So if you get stuck along the way with filling anything in, I'm right there. And you can ask me questions in the chat and I can answer in the chat or live. And it's a lot of fun. It's so much easier to get things done when you can put something on your calendar and you're much more likely to show up for it, especially if there are other people working by your side and you can see them on video working. We feel like we're all in the same room and we get to know each other. It's wonderful. So the link for that's on the challenge schedule page or in the video description. You do have to register unless you're a member. So my Pathfinders, the members of the Path membership, you don't have to register. You can use your usual link. All right. But if you're not a Path member, you do have to register because the Path members, we do these about once a week. It works out to. We do a group hike. It's every other Tuesday and Saturday. So that's just a perk of the membership that I think is just so much fun. And then if you've not already registered for the challenge, make sure you register for the challenge so you can get the free worksheets that will help you build your emergency medical folder. And as I mentioned before, the important papers workshop, where I will teach you how to build your own important papers binder. You'll also, if you attend live, you get the free How Long to Keep Important Documents guide. And if at the very end of the workshop, the first part of the workshop is how to build your binder. At the very end, if you do want to grab your Spark Life binder, you're able to do so right then as well. If you wanted to skip that and just grab your Spark Life binder, go to SuzannaKaye.com and click on the store link or the buy link that's in the video description. It's only available until August 7th. So grab it while you can. And yeah, you can have paper, digital, or both. I like to have both just so I have the backup and the paper version, but it's up to you. So register for the Important Papers Workshop and check out the challenge schedule page. So if you've missed anything, any of these links that I've mentioned, the Important Papers Workshop link, the group hike registration link, any of the downloads, the tasks, the replays, all of it's on the challenge schedule page. So bookmark that page. We've got stuff going on through Sunday. So it'll be really good. All right. Finally, in the comments, let's see. Oh, Tina says, I don't know how to get into the library again. Super, super easy. You can go to SuzannaKaye.com and just click login at the top right. And that's where your online library is. So if you have any problems at all, shoot me an email at hello@SuzannaKaye.com, but should be super simple. Lori says, I found a sheet of the sprint instructions for the Spark Life Binder or Paper Path membership that you gave us in January 22. Yay! That's fantastic. So some really good ideas of how to work through your Spark Life Binder or your Paper Path. I love it. I love it. Well, you've been absolutely amazing. Tomorrow, we are talking about, if I remember correctly, we are talking about where to store your emergency medical folder so that you can find it quickly and easily, and so that first responders can find it if you're not able to communicate. So how to store it and keep it safe and all of that. That's what we're focusing on tomorrow. Saturday, we do not have a live. We've got the group hike instead. Hopefully you can join me for that. And then Sunday, we will have one final video. It'll be pre-recorded, but it'll wrap up everything from this challenge. Hopefully you've been enjoying it. Terry says, just an FYI, registered for the August 2nd session and received an error message. Yes, the error message seems to be our thank you page. It seems to not be going through right. So I will fix that. But as long as you get that email confirmation that, within about 15 minutes usually of signing up, if you get the email confirmation, then you're in and everything's good. If you don't, shoot me an email at hello@SuzannaKaye.com and I will absolutely help make sure that you are registered and everything is all set. All right, well, make today absolutely amazing. Go take some small steps and enjoy the rest of your day. You've already done some great work today just by being here. Terry says, you're awesome. Thank you. You're so welcome. And you're welcome to Deb. Absolutely. Well, I love you. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.